By now, we've all seen the horrifying pictures of Russia's torture and murder in Ukraine. Putin's war crimes are so grotesque, they require of the United States, I think, a tougher, sharper, more lethal response. That's certainly the way the actor Sean Penn sees it. After spending time at the front lines in Ukraine, even as Putin launched his murderous invasion. Speaking with our Sean Hannity last night, Penn revealing what it was like to be with Ukraine's heroic President Zelensky in those gripping moments.
He is the face of something that you see in all the Ukrainians we saw and talked to, this extraordinary courage that's come up. And it was in his eyes, and it is clear to me that the Ukrainians will win this. The question is, at what cost? We can get F-15s, F-16s, and then they can fly those with 3 weeks of training. They can fly the MiGs and the SUs now. And we know that from the California National Guard, who has had a 30-year exercise training mutual with Ukraine, and we're there with the Ukrainian aviators just shortly before they were pulled out because of the politics.
Penn's call for us to do more militarily comes as America slaps more economic sanctions on Russia's two largest banks, on more of Putin's oligarch cronies, and even on Vlad's two daughters. Now, I know, Judge, or I assume, maybe the road to hell is paved with assumption. I assume that Sean Penn's not your kind of guy, but isn't he right here?
Well, it doesn't matter if he's my kind of guy. I mean, I love seeing a liberal, at least come on Fox and talk about something that he knows something about. This isn't just someone at the Academy Awards mouthing off about politics. I'm happy to listen to him. He's been there. He's been on the ground. He knows of what he speaks. So absolutely.
It took guts.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it took guts. He's got a mission.
It took guts to go with.
Look, I mean, it takes guts to go on The View in some cases. I mean, he's coming on Sean's show saying what people want to hear him say.
That's a very important point. We treat them well when they come here. It's not the case when you go on The View.
Speaking of, good point, I think, but speaking of how people are treated, should we be harder on pro-Russia commentators given the glaring evidence that atrocities are being committed?
I think that was a great TV moment. Mm-hmm. I thought it was amazing. I think it bucked the illiberal trend of condemnation by connection that, if you go on Fox, I can't talk to you anymore. You went on Hannity. And likewise, even the viewers look at him differently. But there was one thing he said, Geraldo, that I thought was pretty shocking because it came from Sean Penn. He said, even countries that have nuclear weapons can remain intimidated to use them. And we are seeing that now within our own country. Mm-hmm. And I fear what that legacy is going to be. Now, if you would have told me 10 years ago that Sean Penn would be entertaining the potential for using nuclear weapons, I would burn my VHS copy of Shanghai Surprise. I mean, it's another example of the flop or the flip. And so when you're talking about pro-Russian commentators, you're not seeing the kind of consistent narrative you really want to see. There are people that are going to say things that you don't like, and it's not pro-Russia to be anti-war. So you have to be very careful about how you categorize people. Well, I have yet to meet a pro-Russia person.
There are some who are in their narrative. Why name them?
Well, you're trying to make.
Why
You know what you're doing? You're subtweeting, Geraldo. You're subtweeting. It's not a good look.
Well, meaning what?
Meaning
you're subtweeting right now.
No, I'm saying it right to you.
We have so many things on our plate with immigration and inflation and so forth. Can the American people stay focused on Ukraine, Dana?
Well, I think that's probably Zelensky's concern, right? That the West will tire of this. That we have a lot of things that we have to deal with, but America can do that. That America always does that. And I thought that Linda Thomas-Greenfield, our ambassador to the UN, did a really strong job yesterday. And then as to Sean Penn, I love it when Sean Hannity does these interviews because it gives you a chance to just sit back. And he does it periodically. And it's always somebody different. You get a lot of eyeballs, and then you have somebody like Sean Penn, he was there, he saw it. And a lot of people around the world are wondering, how does this guy go from being an actor and a comedian, and then he becomes this leader that everybody wants to know about? He has a 77% approval rating around the world. I don't know if that lasts in terms of Zelensky, but he really has captured the imagination, and Sean Penn was there to see it and then told us about it.
I think Sean Penn did an excellent job. Should we give F-16s to Ukraine?
It's getting close to that. The tanks are already there, and if they move this war away to the east and the Russian forces are being degraded pretty heavily, there's going to be a lot of people on both sides of the aisle talking about the MiG transfer. I liked how they opened the interview, and Sean said, when I called you, what was the first thing you said to me? And Sean Penn says, I said I didn't trust you. And it was great because then he said, and so what? Mistrust is petty. We're talking about war and peace here. And another takeaway, besides the fact that he thinks Ukrainians are going to win, was that when you go over there and he said, and you see the Ukrainians united as a country, as one, it made him kind of sad that the United States is not like that. And he wishes we could get to that point at some point soon, because that's something we need.
Well, I think that the march toward escalation will be inexorable because we cannot, as the American people, withstand shots of people's heads blown off and murders of children and raping women. And this is real. We can't avoid our glance.
Yeah, well, you got Joe Biden there, so who knows?
What do you mean?
Joe doesn't want to.
That's more subtexting. Flying is already excruciatingly bad. Now the cost of your airplane ticket is about to soar. Details next.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.